We drive as fast as possible towards the front line in case Russian drones are overhead. But thick and heavy mud slows down any vehicle as spring rains start. We walk the last few hundred meters along a tree line. But the winter branches still bear no leaves, so it's hard to find real cover. Ukrainian soldiers are living and fighting in foxholes, here on the outskirts of Vuhledar. Shells have landed just nearby, destroying Ukrainian armor. Ukrainian fighters of the 68th Jaeger Brigade are dug in. The Russians are hard to see with the naked eye, but they're not far away, across the bleak, flat steppe. The Ukrainians have stashed grenades in case any Russian soldiers break through and get close. Targeting orders come in by radio. The Russians have started their spring offensive, but fighting is scrappy. Neither side is gaining or losing much.
Саме страшніше це коли з танків стріляють, бо тільки виход і зразу прильот. Там гради чути, міномети чути, а танки от тільки вистріли і зразу прилетіло. То це саме гірше. А так, ну, так добре все. Скоро переможемо.
These men do 3 days and nights on and 3 off on the front line. Some have had scarcely any home leave in a year of war. Small forward positions like this are really important because Vuhledar is just about a kilometre away over there. The Ukrainians are determined to keep hold of it because it's a transport hub, both rail and road. If they were to lose it to the Russians now, it would be a big strategic defeat. The Ukrainian Defence Ministry has released drone footage showing an attack on a Russian tank approaching Vuhledar. A Russian crew member jumps down and runs. Other tanks are gathered in the same place, some already destroyed. The landscape is pitted with shell holes where once farmers grew sunflowers and wheat. Inside the town, evidence of the Russian tactic of total destruction. If they can't capture a place, they render it uninhabitable. Ukrainian soldiers are on patrol. They haven't been able to push the Russians back out of range. Ukraine needs the promised Western weapons if they're to advance, not just defend what they hold. A few civilians refuse to leave Vuhledar, saying they have nowhere to go. They get water from a drainage pipe and live mainly in underground bunkers. Life is equally hard in the villages outside the town.
Как же в погребе живем, что в подвале, что мы живем. Летает туда-сюда, кто шо к чему, непонятно. Как тихо, так выйдем, так вот. И все, что, как живется? Не очень добро. Хотим, чтобы быстрее все закончилось, чтобы... Хотим мира, 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 мира.
Тут я боюсь, как начинается бахкать, я вот так мертвый, как мертвый лежу.
The conflict, frozen in winter, may now get bogged down in spring. Hard for all Ukrainians, but especially for those living near the front line, condemned by an accident of geography to poverty and war.
Well, Lindsey joins us now from Pokrovsk. Lindsey.
Jackie, well, what we've been seeing is the grinding misery of the war here in eastern Ukraine. President Putin today was rather more concerned about what was happening on his side of the border. He was addressing the FSB, that's the Internal Security Police of Russia, saying they needed to do far more about sabotage inside Russia.
Countering the terror threat is still a crucial task. Over the last year, the number of such offences has risen. Obviously, this has to do with attempts by the Kiev regime to use terror tactics. We know them all too well.
Well, it's interesting that he mentioned that today of all days, because there was quite a lot of activity. First of all, The airport at St. Petersburg was closed down for part of the morning, apparently because there were a lot of drones in the area. And then the Russians showed a picture of a drone which they say had come down in the Moscow area. Now, apparently you can tell from the markings and the design that this is a Ukrainian drone. And what the Russians say was that it was aimed at a gas compression center, but it fell short. And then in Krasnodar, now that is 300 miles from the Ukrainian border, a drone apparently hit a fuel depot. No one was hurt, but it was in flames. Now, if this is the Ukrainians doing that, then obviously they are taking the war to Russia. There was another thing as well. TV in some parts of Russia started to flash up a sign saying that there were air raid alerts. There were no air raid alerts. This was apparently hacking into the servers. And it was the Russian authorities who said that. And they said that it was Ukraine that was doing that. Now, none of this threatens the stability of Russia. But it does get under President Putin's skin. And that's exactly what the Ukrainians want to do.